Dear learners, in this lecture we'll talk about writing for tourism and its categories. We'll understand about the writings of tourism and what are its categories basically. So writing for tourism involves writing for magazines, newspapers, journals. Then it also involves the preparation of brochures, posters, advertisements, etc. Like we have seen that various corporations, they come up with their brochures describing the destinations. There are various posters, the single page posters which describe about the destinations, and of course the advertisements. The Atitha Deva Bhava advertisement is a very common advertisement nowadays we have. So the writing for tourism is basically for these magazines, then newspapers, journals, then these brochures, posters, advertisements. One very important category is the scripts for films, radios and or televisions. Nowadays the film tourism is a concept that has come up. So it involves the scripts for films. So the film scripts are also written in such a way that they are describing the destination well, and of course the scripts for radios and television serials also nowadays include that. Then writing for tourism also includes the tourist aids like guides and shopping directories, etc. The information which has been provided to the guide to explain, or to the escort to explain the destination. And sometimes we also have the shopping directories which also explains the destinations in detail. So that also comes under the category of writing for tourism. And a new category which is included nowadays for travel writing is travel blogs and the information on social media. So this is a very prominent category which has been included in the recent times as far as tourism writing is concerned. Travel writing can be broadly divided into the following categories. We have these certain categories on which the travel writings can be done. So these are on the destinations and themes, cuisines, culture, customs and history, travel industry and organizations, aviation and surface transportation, social, economic and environmental aspects of tourism, promotion literature and special interests. And now I'll one by one I'll take up each these category, and I'll explain it to you that how we can write on these each categories. So the first category is destinations and themes. Destination and themes include the writing on destination, and it is perhaps the most common form of writing in tourism industry. The destination, if we're talking about the destination, it can be a country as a whole, it can be a city, it can be a beach, it can be a mountain also, it can be a forest, a village, a palace. And nowadays even writing for hotels has become under the purview of the destinations. Okay, so hotels, they are also like treated as a specific destination. Then it can also include anything from a place to people. If you're writing about the destination, so you can include anything. You can explain that what this place is all about. You can talk about the environment, you can talk about the social setup of that environment. You can also talk about the people of that place, of that destination which you have chose for your writing. The history, of course, is very important. History, the legends that had been there at that destination, the monuments, the various buildings, monuments that are there at that destination, you can mention about that also. The customs, the cultures, the traditional cultures and the recent cultures. I've gone through one of the literature on Ladakh, and they were explaining the cultures, the customs of Ladakh, and they were making a comparative analysis of the traditional cultures and the recent customs of Ladakh. So one can also write about the customs vis-a-vis the traditional customs or the recent cultures. You can also write about the transportation, about the health, the shopping complexes that we have. Nowadays people are specifically writing about the malls, and not only they're writing about the malls, but many of the detailed researches have also done on the shopping malls. So one can also write on the parks in that destination, the fashion, the fashion of France. People have written so much on the fashion of France. So the fashion museums, the local museums of that destination, the local systems of medicine, again a new emerging category of travel writing. If you're writing about a destination, so you can write about the local system of medicines also, if they are still following the Ayurveda or the previous forms of medications, cinemas, climate. So these are all the areas you can write about if you're writing about a destination. And out of these all, the latest is MICE. MICE talks about the meetings, incentives, conferences, conventions or exhibitions. So events like festivals, exhibitions, trade fairs, even they can be highlighted if you're writing about a destination as a whole. And as I told you, that destination can be anything. The next is cuisine. Now, gastronomy tourism is a new emerging paradigm in tourism arena. We all know about it. Okay, so nowadays you'll find thousands and thousands of writings only on the food, because food is the most important need of a traveler. We all understand that, and if we understand that, so the knowledge about the food is also to be projected. And not only that, many destinations, these days they are known only because of their food. The Thai food is very prominent. The moment we talk about Hyderabad, the Hyderabad biryani comes to our mind. And the cuisine or the gastronomy tourism has become such a prominent area in today's world as far as tourism is concerned, that there is hardly any newspaper or magazine which does not have a column featuring either a restaurant or cuisine, or so much so the chefs or the new ideas in the fitness food are also the areas on which the focus is being emphasized as far as the writing is concerned. Leave about the writing, the TV channels nowadays, even they have also started with the chef programs symbolizing the importance of food. Writing for specialized ethnic food of any destination is a new upcoming prominent area. So everybody is not looking for only the burger or any other branded thing, but they are looking for the ethnic food of any destination, and they're specifically writing about the destination. Many destinations, they have I've seen some destinations who have come up with the specific brochures as far as their cuisines are concerned, in which not only they've mentioned about what that cuisine is, what that dish is, but also they have explained the ingredients that are used in that dish, and also they have explained the procedure to prepare that dish. Food festivals, travel writers, it is a new arena for travel writers. They're writing for food festivals, and not only that, various volumes on the ethnic foods have come up now. There is not only a single page leaflet which mentions about the ethnic food, but books, the volumes on the books have come up on the ethnic food nowadays. So we can understand how well that how much the cuisines, they are an important aspect of travel today. Next comes the culture, customs and history. Countries have preserved a continuing cultures, customs and history, and the travel writers, they can also write on those cultures, customs and history, and they're writing not only the existing culture, but they can also talk about the traditional cultures that the destination had followed throughout. And now what is the, as I've just given you the example of Ladakh, that there was a write-up which showed that the difference between the traditional culture and the culture that they're following these days. So tourists sometimes are also interested in the ruins of the civilizations like Athens, Cairo, and if we're talking about this Asia side, so we have seen so many writings on the Harappan and Mohenjo-daro, right? So why is it that? And people, they are visiting these kind of sites, so because they are interested in the culture and customs and the historical background of these destinations, even if they are ruined. And the information to the travelers are to be provided, so the travel writers, they can provide the information on these type of customs, culture and history also. The next is travel industry and tourism organizations. We all know that tourism has already attained greater heights. There are regulating authorities in tourism also which are there, and no industry is actually complete without these regulating authorities. So writing about these authorities has become a new area for travel writings. Okay, so we find many of the write-ups on the travel organizations or travel tourism organizations, like you'll find a lot of writings on PATA, you'll find a lot of writings on WTO. So these writings are upcoming arena for the travel writings. Writings for tourism organizations has attained a new area for or new space for travel writings. So number of writings, as I told you, are found on tourism in general, and also travel writings are on tourism organizations like IATA, ASTAP, WTO, PATA and so on and so forth. So the travel writings can also be on the social, economic and environmental concerns. We all talk about sustainability today, and we know that sustainability is not only in terms of the environment or economy or society. It is the mixture of all. We need to have the concerns vis-a-vis the society, the economics and the environment. So these are again a major area of travel writings. You'll find a lot of people writing about the carrying capacity of the destination, and they are also talking about the sustainability of the destinations. People, they write about the sustainability of the social culturals, social cultures sustainability or the economic sustainability. And travel writings could also be for the ecological balance, wherein you can ask the travelers to be the responsible travelers and to be taking care of the sustainability of the destination. So these lot of writings are already there on the sustainability. People are too much writing on the sustainability, which includes the social, economic and environmental concerns, which also talk about, as I said, it also talks about the carrying capacity of the destination. And carrying capacity of the destination is not only vis-a-vis the environmental aspect, but it is also vis-a-vis the social and economic systems. The next is the travel writings can also be on the promotions or tourist literature and video scripts. We all talk about promotions, and we all know that these promotions, they are integral to any commercial activity. Okay, so for the promotions of a destination, these travel writings are there. So these travel writings can be in the form of your tourist literature, which accounts for the biggest area of creating writing. Creative writing is wherein the writer is putting his creativity in describing the destination. It can vary from an attractive poster to a brochure which includes lot of things in that writing, or on any theme like folk dance, tribal life, food or golf. As I said, food tourism is a prominent one. It is attaining lot of prominence, and similarly the golf tourism is attaining lot of prominence. So the posters, the promotional material or the literature can also focus upon these type of niche tourism markets. They, like we, as I told you, it is the golf tourism. Here I would like to add one more form of niche form of tourism, that is the pink tourism, which is the tourism for the transgenders. Okay, so this is again a new emerging paradigm in tourism, and we do not have lot of material or lot of literature on pink tourism. So tourist writers or you, my dear learners, you can write on these type of this form of new emerging form of tourism, that is pink tourism. And this pink tourism is basically the tourism for the transgenders, as India has legalized itself for these LGBT tourists. Then another form of tourism or any form of writing for tourism is special interest. Special interest includes mountaineering, trekking, fishing, golfing, cycling, skiing, heli skiing, museum hunting, etc. You will find lot of again writings on mountaineering, and not only these writings on the special interest specifically, but these writings or these special interests can be vis-a-vis the women or specific category of the tourist as well. The trekking for old people, it is a catchy heading, tracking for old people, or fishing for the children. So these are the catchy areas. Cycling for women, so mountaineering for women, golfing, women golfing. So these type of special interest areas, they can be highlighted in the travel writings. Apart from the adventure sports that I've discussed just now, the new forms of special interest are also emerging. For example, the meditation. Recently I've seen that many tourists, they go to other places just for meditation. They stay there at the different ashrams for 10 days or 15 days, and they do their meditation, they practice their yoga, and they eat whatever is been provided, whatever light food is been provided to them. They have they attain the environment of salvation, and they enjoy in that environment. So these form of tourisms are also coming up, and so the another category for travel writing is also been emerged with it. So meditation, writing for meditation, writing for desert safaris, city desert circuits, these are another types of special interest as far as the writing for tourism is concerned. Another area of travel writing is aviation and surface transport. So travel writings, they focus on aviation and railways and road travel also. You must have seen that people nowadays, they're writing a lot about the airlines, various airlines, and they are not only writing about the airlines, but also they're writing about the experiences on these airlines. About railways, we all know in India that Indian Railways, it is the major network of transportation. So people, they're writing about the railways, their experiences, and what category of railways that they are going in for. And people also write for the trains that has been converted as tourist trains. For example, the Palace on Wheels is a big example. Palace on Wheels, you'll find numerous studies on Palace on Wheels, and these studies, they talk about the destinations that Palace on Wheels it is covering. It also talks about these studies, they also talk about the tires that the employees on this train is wearing, the tourist experiences and the rates, and everything is been there on the trains, about writings about the trains. Of course, there is no dearth of stories on road travel. People are constantly been writing on their experiences on road travel, and this road travel, a new form which is there in Ladakh, and that is people, they go to these places on their bikes. Bike tourists are there, and then they write about their experiences, that how was it on going on bikes at these particular places, or at these areas where the roads are very very small or narrow roads are there. Apart from that, if we're talking about the road tourism or surface tourism, there is a new emerging field, that is wayside tourism or highway tourism. And we all know that it has been pioneered by Haryana, but many people nowadays, they have adopted to this idea, and they are writing about wayside tourism, or the another name of wayside tourism is highway tourism. They are writing about their experiences on the highways, and so much so that people, they are eating at the local dhabas at the highways, and they are writing about that also. So it is not that they are just writing about the transportation aspect, it is not that they are just touching about the transportation aspect, but they are also talking about the other things that are associated with these transport forms. As I said, the bike tourists, they are writing about the adventure that they go through in during their bike journeys to these narrow roads. And similarly, in the wayside tourism, the tourists or the writers, they are not only writing about what is wayside tourism and what are the highways that are offering these forms of tourism, but they are also narrating down their experiences which are there in the roadside dhabas, or which are there, which they get at the roads during their travel. The next aspect of travel writing is social, economic and environmental concerns. Today you'll find lot of studies or lot of subjects that are written on the sustainability. And normally when we talk about sustainability, we generally think that sustainability is only in terms of the environment. But dear learners, today sustainability is not only to be spoken in terms of the environment, but sustainability is also vis-a-vis the social aspect and the economic aspect. So travel writings, you must have seen many travel writings which are talking about the society, and they are talking about that the cultures and values of a particular destination, they should be sustainably maintained actually. Okay, so travel writings, they are also talking about the carrying capacity. You'll find lot of writings which is specifically talking about carrying capacity, and once a destination on which huge number of writings are being made, and that is Amarnath. Okay, so you'll find lot of writings on the carrying capacity of Amarnath. You'll find they have been writing that only this number of people, they should be allowed to visit Amarnath Yatra if we have to maintain the Shiva Lingam in the way as it is today. Travel writings could be for ecological balance as well. People, they are writing for travel in terms of, you can say, the wetlands. Lot of writing you'll find for national parks, for wildlife sanctuaries, which also somewhere which also talks about the maintenance of the ecological balance. They plea to the tourists to be responsible. They plea to the tourists to maintain the ecological balance of the destination when the tourists, they are visiting. So the social, economic and environmental concerns are part of the sustainability, are part of the concept of sustainability, and they are again a major area of travel writing in today's world. Nowadays, people are also writing for the promotions. We all know that promotions are integral to any commercial activity. Okay? So if tourism is happening anywhere, it is for the economic benefits that a destination is to reap. So if the economy is the key area, or developing the economy is one of the angles of developing any destinations, so of course its promotion or of course its marketing is an integral. So for the promotion, the tourist literature has to be there. And if the tourist literature will just be like the normal writing, nobody would actually take up that literature and go through that literature. And there is the role of the creative writing. People have to be very creative. Nowadays the writer have to be very creative when they are writing. They have to talk about the different forms of the things, which can include the folk dances, and tribal life again is a new concept that is coming up. People are writing on tribal life. Food, I've just discussed that cuisine or gastronomy has become an eminent part of travel writing. The new form of tourism is golf tourism. So about golf tourism, there can be a lot of stuff which can be written. Here I would like to add one more form of tourism, that is pink tourism. And to my surprise and to everybody's surprise, that this form of tourism is still not very much known to many of the people in the country, that this is a new emerging paradigm in the tourism industry. This tourism, pink tourism, is for the tourists of transgender. The tourists who are transgender or who belong to LGBT equation, so they are, when they are traveling to a country, so this form is called as pink tourism. So one can write, my dear learners, you have now formed a new arena to write, that is pink tourism. For video scripts also, one can write a lot. Video advertisements, they are also part of the promotions, and one can write a lot on these video advertisements. Now you must have seen many of the, can say, videos which are showing a destination, or many of the videos which are displaying a certain niche area of tourism. How that video is formed? So there is a script behind it. So this script is also in the written form, and that script has to be formalized or written in a proper way, and that can be another area for travel writing, another category for travel writing. I've recently seen there is a place in Jammu, that is Basoli. I've recently seen a clip of that video shoot of Basoli, and when I spoke, I liked it very much. And when I spoke to the director of that clip, and he categorically told me that this clip is not only his idea. That clip was somebody else's idea, who has narrated that the pictures or the images will be shooted at these points, and then they will be taken together, and such. So that clip was being formed. So the travel writing can also include the scripting, writing scripts for the destinations. Another form of travel writing is special interest. The special interest include your mountaineering, trekking, fishing, golfing, cycling, skiing, heli-skiing, museum hunting, etc. Now these special interests, when you're writing, these will obviously catch the eye of only the persons who will be interested in these areas. But when you attach like mountaineering, if you attach mountaineering with women, if you attach fishing with children, so naturally these type of things will catch the eye of those categories of people also, who are actually directly not involved in such kind of special interest. So writing for tourism can also include the category for writing of these special interests, like as I told you, trekking for women, fishing for women, golfing for children, cycling for old people, skiing for old people, and so on and so forth. Another is special interest is meditation, desert safari, city desert circuits, etc. And they also form another type of special interest. So to conclude or to recapitulate what we have studied in this lecture, we can say that we have covered the categories of travel writing, which include magazines, newspapers, journals, preparing brochures, posters, advertisements, etc. Also, we have talked about the various broad categories on which this travel writing can be done, and these tourism writing, it can include, it can work on the categories with destination and theme, cuisine, culture, customs and history, travel industry and organizations, aviation and surface transportation, social, economic and environmental aspects of tourism, promotion, literature and special interest forms. Thank you.